All right. So rapper LeCrae says quality over marketing. So LeCrae's comments about how the role of an artist has changed. In the past, the expectation was largely to make great music and promote it. Now, artists are often expected to function as content creators, personalities, influencers. We know this. Mm-hmm. There's a video here, and then there's a couple questions.
I know what the podcast and everybody and all the quote-unquote experts are saying. They're saying, hey, you need to become a content creator who makes music if you're a musician. And I'm going to tell you, at the risk of sounding outdated and old school, no, you don't. No, you don't. You can be a musician and a music artist who puts out content. That's okay. You don't got to become a professional content creator to be successful in the music industry. It's just not true. And I'm tired of everyone saying, oh, if your song don't go viral online, you're not going to survive out here. Focus on making great music. Good music does still matter. It does. Make great music, make great art, reflect the creator, make the creator proud that you're reflecting the greatness that he has put in you, and make dope music, man. That's all I'm saying. Just make it good. Worry about the rest of that stuff later. But focus on the music.
Say it, don't spray it,
man.
Like, I don't know if it was just a black and white, man.
It might have accentuated it a little bit. But yeah, it was a whole lot of popping peas in there, boy.
All right, so there's some truths in there of what he was saying, but overall, has the rise of content actually made music less important, or has it simply changed how people discover it?
I think he has some things a little confused, because back in the day, you just had to make good music, and it was somebody else's job to market it.
Yeah,
it was somebody else's job to promote it. You just had to show up and do your job and perform the music, be able to perform the music that you made. It's not really, now you do have to do all of these other things in order for your product to actually reach the masses. And if you don't do it, then it might not be there. I mean, if you can make, I know a lot of people making great music, but it's just sitting on the shelf because nobody knows that. And you have to find a way for people to find out.
And I think too, his specific thing that I've noticed is he said you don't have to be both. Like, you can be a musician that makes content. Like, you don't have to be a content creator like somebody that holds their phone and talks every day about something, or something that we do. Like, you don't have to start a podcast. I mean, I don't know. Do you have any feelings on that? Because I kind of feel like it's kind of one and the same in a way, but
I think it's more so the evolution of the game itself. I feel like too, it's in an artist's best interest in some cases to popularize themselves along with making the music, because at that point it eliminates needing a record label essentially to get you out. Like, of course, some people still want to be signed to a record label, but it makes the package that more appealing when you've already created a fan base based off of the music and whatever you got going on online. Yeah. Now, as far as podcasts are concerned, I feel like a lot of the artists don't, resort to creating a podcast until they feel like their music career has kind of fizzled out a little bit. Mm-hmm. So they pivot, with the anomaly being, well, I can't even say Drake is on podcast, but
streaming.
I definitely feel like he's leaning more into that lane right now as a pivot, possibly, maybe not. But it's almost like there are artists that focus solely on the music, and there are artists that are, using their platforms and things of that nature in order to help boost the product that they're selling, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Now, if your music starts lacking because you're doing that, or it's not as interesting and you're losing fans because of it, then that's a different story. But I don't feel like in today's day and time that you should just eliminate it altogether. I feel like it's definitely part of it.
Do you feel like, to the question though, do you feel like the rise of content has made the music portion of it less important, or has it just changed how people discover it?
I think it, again, it's changed because it evolved. I don't think it makes the music less important. I feel like a lot of people just want to know the artist, or feel like they know the artist a little bit. Yeah. And that's just part of it. And it's not nothing that's new. I mean, back in the day, you had to join a fan club in order to kind of get to know the artist, so to speak. It's just evolved to the point now where everybody's more easily accessible. So why not use that to your advantage?
Yeah. What do you think, Jay?
I think part of why social media and content is important is because we really are in a era of DIY. Do it yourself. For those of you who don't know what that acronym is like.
Shout out to Curtis King.
Yeah, you literally said it's like, hey, there used to be somebody who called the radio station on your behalf, or made sure your song was being played on MTV or BET or VH1. First of all, those avenues are gone now because they don't show videos. There's radio, which is still important, is not what it was. Because there is not that symbiotic relationship between radio and records that there was. So a lot of the dynamics have changed so much that is LeCrae. I mean, because he's been making music for a while, and he is. I don't want to say he's part of the old system.
He is, though. That's why he can speak to that way, because he comes from that system and he already has fans.
Right. But if you're somebody that's new, and like I said, we've talked about this before. Even if you have great music, the people who are engaged with you need to see something from you every day. It doesn't have to be sitting down and having your opinion and getting a bunch of lights and cameras and whatnot. But it does need to be something to where your fans see what you're doing, whether it be the creative process, whether you be taking your dog to the groomer, whether it be going over to your mom's house and, taking out the trash and she's still treating you like a regular person, even though you got this hit song. Like, those are the things that maintain a fan base, and you didn't have to do that sort of thing before. The way, if they didn't see you on, whatever late night show or whatever, sit down and interview show, if they didn't see you on Video Soul, I know I'm dating myself with that one, they didn't see you. And now everyone expects so much and to be entertained all the time.
Yeah.
That, yes, you should be an artist that creates content as opposed to a content creator that just happens to be an artist. I think that's where sometimes the scales get skewed a little bit. And I think that's part of what his frustration is, where, I might, even if I give you something as far as content is concerned, and maybe I let you in on my social media, I'm an artist first. So
that's okay.
Yeah, I know. And like I said, but he's been making music for a while. He has a set amount of fans. If you're new to the game, you've got to do things a little bit differently.
Yeah. I think I kind of think that this is true. I think the rise of content actually has made music less important indirectly, because it has opened up because the ability to have access to everything so readily, so handily, has just made it so that, like, we expect it. And it's because we have so much media to consume, the option to consume. It's very easy to just forget about something if there isn't the content that's there. Whereas in the past, maybe, you sat with things a little bit longer, and there were modes to get to it, and not everything was in our face all the time, 24/7. So I feel like the rise of content has made music feel less important. And I think it's valued even less than it ever has been at this point.
Yeah, being elusive used to be part of being an artist. Like, you weren't able to know exactly what was going on in an artist's life, and that was normal. It made people actually more interested in the artist based on how much they didn't know about them. But now it's just to the point where I feel like people know that we have these tools to do it, and they've seen people be successful at both.
That's
or
another
even
problem with
introducing themselves to you first socially, and then saying, "Oh, I make music now." You know what I'm saying? And it's work for people. But as far as, like, I feel like an actual musician is never going to lean totally on the social aspect of it anyway.
Sure.
Because that's just not where their focus is ever going to be. If they're doing something socially, it's going to be because the powers that be or the people in their corner are encouraging them to, in order to get more people to pay attention to their brand. But like even like you brought up the radio. At one point in time, your whole goal was to get something on the radio.
Mm-hmm.
And once you got it on the radio, you knew it was going to do what it was supposed to do if it was a good song. But then you have artists now. I actually seen somebody post about this earlier today. Don Toliver, who is very popular. He's not on the radio like that at all.
Right.
NBA Youngboy is not on the radio at all. So there's other ways to get to your goal at the end of the day versus how it was set up back in the day. So yeah.
I think also another thing too, when we think about back in the day, we can't omit the fact that there are gatekeepers.
Yeah.
That existed back then. You had to do things a specific way. You could only be elusive, to your point, if you already had a certain level of
you have to be a star.
Like intrigue.
Yeah,
you know,
star
like
quality.
you couldn't just be John down the street who makes music and like no, like the content allows you to kind of develop this in your own type of way.
Yeah.
And if you are a smaller tiered artist, then yes, you're going to have to lean more heavily. And this goes, it's not just artistry, it's anything that you want to do. You're going to have, if you don't have a team around you, if you don't have that backing, that push, you're going to have to lean more heavily into the content piece of it because it's just, it's because those artists are now on the same playing field as everybody else.
Yes.
Which never used to be a thing. So that's important.
And, you know, one of the things that, you know, back in the day people were concerned with was actually overexposure. I don't think that's anything that a handler of any artist is worried about now.
No, you can't be because of the algorithms.
Yeah, and I saw there was a story originally on Bad. Michael Jackson wanted Barbra Streisand to sing on "I Just Can't Stop Loving You," and that fell through. And then it was going to be Whitney Houston.
Yeah.
And Whitney Houston's people were like, "Nah, that might be too much exposure, and we've got an album that we're working on." And like that would never happen now, to where someone would say, we can't do a record with Michael Jackson, God bless the dead, because we don't want the extra exposure.
Honestly, if we were smart on this show, we would just go back through all of our short form content that is done really well.
Repost it.
And shoot like one show a month and spend all of our time, instead of shooting an episode and putting it out every week, just spamming all the stuff that's already worked. That honestly is a much smarter approach than to have new content that comes out every week. And to, you know, like if you're going to approach it from like succeeding in the algorithm in that particular type of way, it's just the way that it works now. Like if we share that clip of Jay Moore telling Kid Rock he's a piece of shit every week, I mean, every single time we post that, at the minimum, it gets like 50,000 views.
You were doing that just because it was the cool thing to do, but you didn't mean that. So, because once you felt like you could get your money without hip hop and without being around all these black people, you went ahead and got your Confederate flag and were hanging out with Ted Nugent. That's who you are.
You know what I mean? So
yeah, because we used to do it every time I would wear that Astros jersey on the show. I'd be like, well, let's post this like it's new.
Yeah. I just posted it anytime we talked about Kid Rock. It's like, it's time to throw it out there. He's in the news. Let's throw it out there. And I remember one time we got like 700,000 views on TikTok. This is back in old TikTok. Posted it again, like a month later, 500,000. You know, it's just like, and they're all new people or people that are seeing it and engaging it differently. It's just because everybody's on there and the way that they count views, and it's just like views don't really matter that much. So it's just like, it's just awareness. So anyways, does LeCrae have a point that content creators and musicians are becoming two different types of entertainers?
I kind of feel like it's always been like that.
Yeah, I think they're definitely.
I think they're kind of the same.
All right, so I'll put it to
in
you
the way
like
they got to feed the streets.
Yep.
I'll put it to you like this. So like when
That's
I think
the
of
same ecosystem.
a content creator, and this might even, would you consider a TV show a content creator type of situation?
I think a content creator is somebody who has some type of presence,
online presence, so not a network presence.
Some type of presence where people can have direct access to you. In a way, people can come in our comments and we can see, we can respond.
I think there's a difference in what that music sounds like.
Man, you got to
a content creator is more so trying to attach themselves to whatever's popular sound, pop music, essentially, almost. Whereas a musician's sole focus is the music itself. So like a content creator wants you to know them based on the content that they create. And I also do music. And then a musician's sole focus is the music itself. and I'm only doing this content creation because I was told, or I know that I probably need to dibble dabble in it a little bit.
But it still doesn't matter because it's still the same medium. Like, regardless of if that's what you just want to be or not, you still have to do it. You know, like that's the point. Very few people are going to like find somebody based upon their music. It's very rare to find somebody just strictly on their music anymore, unless you've heard them say something or did an interview with somebody or something like that.
I kind of put more weight when we say musician. Now, if you do somebody that says that they do music, or I rap, or I do this, I kind of feel like it's more so the same as far as the content creator. Versus when I think of a musician, I think of somebody that is like, even though they're successful or not, they're still studying the form of making this music. They want to put out a quality product. It's not about just making a single that's going to stick. So that's why when I think of a musician, it's not necessarily in the same frame as I think of a content creator. I feel like they're only doing it, or their sole purpose is to get a hot track or a couple hot tracks lined up, and they're not concerned about the total package of the music that they're putting out. I could be wrong though.
I mean, again, I think it's just like, if we're framing it from the sake of entertainment, you can do whatever you want as a musician. I can sit over here and make 20 beats, right? But it's not until I start entertaining that and showcasing that to where people are going to be able to see it. So it's like, and at that point, I become a content creator. So it's like, you know, I feel like they're kind of the same at this point, just based upon how people have to consume it. But I get that.
It's like back in the day, man. You had the big screen and the small screen, and the big screen was movies, small screens was television. Now the big screen is TV, and the small screen is your phone. You know what I mean? Like, this is a TV show that you guys create every week. You know what I mean? And put out to the masses. You got to treat, if you're going to be successful in the quote unquote content creation space, you have to treat it as if you are doing a television show. You know what I mean? You have to actually, there was actual production that went into this.
Mm-hmm.
There's gone are the days where you can just really do stuff on your phone and just send it out to the people anymore.
Yeah, I mean, it still exists though. Like, you know, like if you're a musician, you play saxophone and that's all that you do, and you just work in that group of like, I'm going to work with these 20 people that need a saxophone player. I feel like you can exist in that way. But as soon as you want to like put out your own thing, I feel like you're crossing that threshold into something else.
Mm-hmm. So that's, I think when we speak on musicians, I don't think you're a musician unless you play an instrument.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like,
even if you're a great singer,
you're an artist.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Unless you had something to do with the actual music that was being created, other than singing.
Yeah. Aside from that, you are an artist. You're somebody that creates product and you present it to the masses. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Musicians, a musician can play on their phone. Yeah. I know there are several musicians that I follow on Instagram, and only thing people care about is hearing them play their music. You know what I mean? And that's what they want from them.
Yeah.
If you're an artist, I need to know your story. So you're gonna have to give me that in some type of content creation form. You're gonna have to present it in a way that makes it appealing to me, to where I'm not just looking at somebody that's just singing.
Well, it's about the story, right? And if you're an artist, let's be more specific. Somebody who is a vocalist, like a performing artist in that way, you have to figure out how to tell your story to people. Mm-hmm. If you're just somebody who plays keys, if you're somebody like Count or somebody that that makes live videos, that is you telling your story in that way. You just have to figure out how to tell your story in a way that
is compelling.
That is compelling to whatever you do, and that is the content creation. That is what that is. So it can look different depending on who you are, but like a saxophone player that only plays to 20 people versus a saxophone player that plays to 20 people, and he also has an Instagram page where he's recording, or he or she's recording them playing saxophone. You're setting yourself up in a particular, like, you're becoming an entertainer at that point, as opposed to a studio musician or somebody that plays and shows and stuff like that. And It just depends on how you want to attach it. I think it's still possible for some people to not have to do any content at all, but you have to be a very particular type of musician,
Yeah.
as opposed to somebody who is like a music maker.
Correct.
You
And
know,
then
artist.
being a particular type of musician, if you're not comfortable with doing the content, so to speak, then the music itself is the content. Like kind of to your point, like you're using your talent that you have in order to create the content. Like I've seen a lot of people that make beats, and their content is never them talking about anything. Their content is only on them on the MP or on the keyboard or on the drums or anything. They use that as the content piece in order to get people to engage with them.
How they created it.
Correct.
It's the story you tell. You know, it's
Yeah.
the story you tell. Like people want to be able to tap into who you are and all these things. And if you can show that in content, then that's going to invite people in. You know what I mean? So
It's actually smart. Whether you want to, and I understand like LeCrae's point that if you want to be a musician, you shouldn't have to do the content.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we all
But-
understand that. But
Yeah, I understand it, but in the same token, you have to adapt to what people are into right now and accepting. So even if you're not comfortable doing the content, there's a way that you can figure out, you know what I'm saying, to put it out in order to make yourself more successful in what you really want to give to the world.
yeah.